So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So, today I'm here along with my friend Saranya to describe and demonstrate the GIS functionalities with the ArcGIS Pro extensions. So, before going into the deep, like understanding about the analysis, functionalities, and all, we need to understand what are these extensions. So, what are extensions? So, extensions are the products that integrate seamlessly with ArcGIS Pro to enhance productivity and analysis. And as we know that every sector or industry has to perform like different kind of analysis based upon their needs. So we have bundled all the relevant tools together into the extension. So as you can see, these are the multiple extensions that are available with the ArcGIS Pro. So let me give you an example. So if some organization wants to work or if they want to find out the optimal routes from one location to the other location, or if they want to find out the closest facilities and all these things related to the routing analysis, they should make use of the network analyst extension. So we have bundled all the tools together that are required for the routing analysis in this particular extension. So similarly, if one is working exclusively on image analysis, then they should make use of ArcGIS Image Analyst extension. So in the same way, we have all the extensions have its own importance. So based upon your needs, you can make use of these extensions. So and today we are focusing on the following extensions: the spatial analyst, the geostatistical analyst, network analyst, and additionally, we are even covering about the ArcGIS Pro add-ins. So starting with the ArcGIS Spatial Analyst. So Spatial Analyst extension provides a rich suite of tools and capabilities to perform raster-based analysis. So the first thing when we talk about the spatial analyst or any analyst, we may get it out like where to get this tool or the toolboxes. So you can get this access to the tool from the analysis window. So just you need to go to the analysis tab, click on the tools, and as soon as you click on the tools, a geoprocessing pane will be launched towards the right, and you can search for a tool or you can even search for the tool set. So if you can see, we have searched, like we have found out the spatial analyst tools, the toolbox, the spatial analyst extensions, and you can see there are multiple tools available with the spatial analyst. So you can see there are conditional tools where you can perform conditional statements, and then the density mapping, then the distance, like you can find out the least spot path analysis, and you can extract the data set by mask, like you can extract the information from the raster data sets. Then you have tools for the hydrology where you can get all the analysis and the data sets like the flow direction, flow accumulation, watershed modeling, and so on. And then we have interpolation tools. So what are those interpolation tools? So interpolation tools allows us to estimate the unknown values from the known values. So we have all like the multiple tools which are available with the spatial analyst extensions. So using this, we can get and analyze our data in a better way. So the key highlights of the spatial analyst extension are we can combine multiple data sets from different formats and interpret new data out of it. We can also perform complex raster functions with the help of the tools available with the spatial analyst extension. So as you can see, we have map algebra, multidimensional analysis. So we can make use of all these functions together and get a proper analysis. So let me show you some of the examples of the spatial analysis. So the first one would be the terrain analysis. So when it comes to the terrain analysis, you must be aware that we can create the slope rasters, aspects, hill shade, curvatures, contours, and all this. So all this would be the part of terrain analysis, and then we have surface modeling, and then we have surface interpolation. So if you see this diagram, in the first diagram, you can see we have some of the points where we are using the points and we are interpolating the raster. So we are basically studying the data or collecting the data in the form of points, and using which we are able to convert the point into a raster using various algorithms. And then we have tools for the density mapping, where you can identify the density of the data related to any spatial parameters. And then the statistical analysis, you can get to know the statistics within your data set. That is how, suppose, let's say if it is a land use and land cover, you can see the statistics, like how much area is occupied by a certain class value. And if it is a temperature, you can see the graphs like this, like you can create histograms and all this to see how your data is varying across the place, or and then we even have hydrology tools. So as I have explained, we have hydrology tool set, like where we can get the watershed modeling and flow direction, flow analysis, and all those tools. So they all are bundled together into a single tool set in the hydrology. And then finally, we have one of the advanced the capability called suitability modeling, using which um, uh, we can easily estimate which would be the suitable site for different kinds of analysis. It may be anything or any use case. So moving forward, let me show you a quick demo on with the help of the spatial analyst tools. Now we have come to the ArcGIS Pro interface. And as you can see here, I have some of the elevation values. And these elevation values are so dense, so they are regularly, like they are placed at the regular intervals. So to make it clear for you, so let me zoom into an extent. So yes, so if you see at this extender, all the points are placed at the regular intervals, and when you click on the particular point, you will get the elevation information out of it. So it is 635 over this point. So similarly, not only the elevation data set, you can get the data related to temperature or any other parameters like precipitation and all those things. So using which you can convert and extract the data sets, like you can convert it into a raster out of it. So how to do that? So first we need to go to the analysis tab, then click on tools and find the spatial analyst toolbox. Or if you are well aware of which tool to use, you can directly make a search for a tool over here. So now let me show you the spatial analyst toolbox. So here it is. I'll just drop down it, and you can see there are multiple data sets, like multiple tools available within the spatial analyst toolbox. So if you click on the conditional, you can perform, like if you have any condition, like if you want to filter out some data set and all those things, you can use conditional tools, and the density mapping and distance, so extraction, so you can extract the values by mass and all these things. So for right now, I'll show you a simple tool using which we can interpolate or extract a raster out of it. So now, since we have the elevation values, I would like to generate an elevation model or an elevation surface to use it in a further analysis. So for that, I can quickly click on interpolation. So once you click on interpolation, you can see there are list of tools available for us. So these tools are using different algorithms and so on. So for now, let me choose inverse distance weighted technique and extract a raster out of it. So in this case, we need to just choose the feature points, that those are the elevation values, and then the Z value could be the elevation. So let me show you by opening an attribute table. So if you open an attribute table, so each point has a point ID and the elevation value. So this is the Z value. If it is a different parameter, let's say temperature, then maybe we will have the maximum and minimum temperature attribute values and so on. So if you want to generate a raster for temperature, then we need to choose it appropriately. Since I want to create a digital elevation model or a surface, so I'm choosing the elevation data set over here. And you need to set or give the output raster name and the cell size and everything. You can leave it by default. And if you have any bounding polygon, suppose let's say that you want to restrict the processing to a certain extent, you can even give the barrier polygon. so that it will restrict your data, the input and the output to that particular extent. So after doing all this, after filling all the parameters, you can quickly click on run. So since it will take a while, so I have already run that tool for you, and here is it. So I'll just disable this elevation values and I'll just zoom out, and you can see the elevation raster has been generated out of it. So now we can, as we know that we use this elevation raster more often for different kinds of analysis. So easily, like in this way, you can create the elevation raster out of the values, like the data. So further moving to the another tool set like the suitability, site suitability modeling in ArcGIS Pro. So again, this is one of the important tools, and it is, it is helping many sectors to gain or understand about the most suitable site locations for their industries. So here I am taking, like, I want to show you in a defense use case. So before going to that, before starting the demo, let me just give you an overview. So in as we know that in the recent times, or maybe from past, like we know that India and China and India and Pakistan, and this military troops face each other due to various reasons. So sometimes we have wars, sometimes we have fights. So we need to make sure that our military troops are being placed at proper locations. So they must understand about all the spatial parameters such as the elevation and the slope, what is the slope and what is the temperature and all those things. We need to identify the proper locations to deploy the military troops. So how to do that? So here, to make you understand, we have taken four parameters. Those are land cover. So in land cover, if you open, you can see we have all these values like mostly cropland, deciduous forest, and all this. So here I want to deploy the military troops in the deciduous forest or evergreen forest, so they will be safe and secure. And then the temperature. So if you see, the temperature is ranging from -30 to 6 degrees. So here I can even choose the suitable temperature or the temperature at which the military troops will not be at any risk. And then the slope. So if you see, the slope values have been categorized. So this is the temperature data set, and these are the slope values. And then obviously we have the elevation data set as well. So now using these values, I can generate a suitability modeler. So for right now, I have zoomed into a particular location because since our area of interest would be mostly in the borders, so we have zoomed it to a particular extent. So if you see, this is the study area that I have taken. So now in this area, I want to extract the most suitable locations for deploying the military troops. So how to do that? So again, you can go to the analysis tab and click on the suitability modeler. So it says suitability modeler already exists. So just use this. And as soon as you click on that, it will open a pane towards your right. And here you can give the name of the model, and you can set the suitability scale from either from 0 to 1 or 1 to 10 or 1 to 100, and then weight by percent or multiplier. And you can even set or give the location where you want to save the suitability raster after exporting it or after analyzing. And next, we have parameters where we can assign weightages. So here we need to import all the, we need to select and say which all parameters we want to use. So in this case, I have selected elevation, so that, elevation plays an important role, especially for deploying military troops, so that, our enemies or military or army are not targeted easily, or it becomes easy if we are properly placed at a particular elevation value. Maybe we can easily target the enemies. So elevation plays an important role. Similarly, slope, temperature, and land cover. So I will select all this and just click say OK. So after selecting this, you can see that you can assign weightages. so by percentage as well. So you can change this values, like you can give it as 10, 20 based upon your importance. Now, what if you want to search, you want to assign weightages within the data set? Suppose, let me say, in temperature, we have multiple values, and the temperature is ranging across like from -22 to -11 in this particular region. So I can even assign the weightages. So I can say that my like the infantry troops should not go below the 15 degrees, -15 degrees. So I can assign the 10 weightage to this, like I can just give the value as 10 and I can set the rest values as 0. Or similarly, I can assign the whatever priorities I want to give, like I want to set, I can assign those weightages and just say on run. So once you have run that, you can see the site suitability modeling and you will find the most suitable locations. So this, I'll just disable this for now. So here we have extracted the most suitable location for the military troops. So if you see, this is the suitability map, and the suitability map is ranging from 0 to 3, and 0 is the least suitable location, and then the 3 is the highly suitable location for the military troops. So if you see the blue color spots, whatever you're seeing, so these are we can make sure if we are placing our military troops in this area, we can make sure that they are safe, secure, and they can even target the enemies in a better way, and they will not get targeted easily. So in this way, you can use suitability modeler for different kind of analysis. So suppose if you want to find out the gold mines, or so based upon the industries, you can use this model, build parameters, assign weightages, and extract the most suitable sites. And going back to the presentation, so this is all about the spatial analyst for today. So you can even explore more if you want to know about it in detail. And then we have another extension called geostatistical analysis. So geostatistical analysis allows you to identify the trends and patterns with the data. So geostatistical analysis with ArcGIS within ArcGIS lets you generate optimal surfaces from the data and evaluate predictions for better decision making. And when it comes to the key highlights of the geostatistical analysis, you can explore your data by revealing the patterns and trends and create optimal interpolated surfaces by using various geostatistical algorithms, and you can perform the post processing of the results as well. And if you see the some of the tools or the off-the-shelf tools that are available with the geostatistical analysis, so sometimes if we are using the tools, we may need to build a model to get the accurate interpolation without any errors. But here, in this case, with the help of the geostatistical analysis, we have an access to the interactive geostatistical modeling wizard, where we can directly set the parameters and extract a data set out of it. So if you see here, similarly, like we have done it in with the help of the spatial analyst. So there we have used a basic algorithm. So here we are using advanced thing, and which is very quick and fast. So let me show you a quick demo on this as well. Yes. So when it comes to the geostatistical analysis, we have various like different kinds of things. So let me start with the voxel layer first. So what is a voxel layer? Voxel layer represent multi-dimensional spatial data and temporal information in a 3D volumetric visualization. So you know that most of the temporal data sets will be in the NetCDF format. So how to read that data sets to visualize or analyze in a better way? So you can directly go to the add data and import it as a voxel layer. So you can see we are importing the sea surface temperature throughout the world, and just click on OK. So as soon as you import this, you can see the volumetric visualization of your data. So since we have the data from 2001 to 2002, so we have the data for 24 months basically. So here you can clearly see the how your patterns or how the data is changing. So the temperature is ranging from 271 kelvins to 305. So in this case, you can clearly see towards the poles, the temperature is too low, and when it is coming to the equator, the temperature is increasing simultaneously. So let me show you how to create ISO surfaces and all those things. So just enable the surfaces, and here we have an option called ISO surfaces. So you can create ISO surface. So what is an isosurface? Based upon the temperature value, you can see in which all locations that temperature is existing. So you can even change this graphs to see how your temperature is varying across the locations. And you can clearly see this value in the table towards your right. So you can just use the settings and make sure like how your temperature is varying across the locations. And then we have the slices. So let me disable this. Let me do this. So when it comes to the slices, you can even slice your data set and view across the time period and across the spatial locations. So let me create a slice for you. So here I'll just say create slice, and I'll choose horizontal. And once I choose this horizontal slice, I can even, so you can see that I have a data for 24 months, and within 24 months, you can see how the data is varying, or how the temperature is varying across all the months in a year. So in this way, you can do horizontal and vertical slicing to get to know how your data and trends are changing. And now, what if you want to filter out, or what if you want to just know where all the temperature is between 295 to 300 Kelvin? So in those cases, you can just filter it out using the symbology pane. So here you just need to click on the data filter. So in the data filter, you can assign the color range, like the minimum value starts from 295. So it's the same way even here you can change to 95. So once you have set this color, you can see where all the temperature, or where all in which all locations the temperature is ranging from 295 to 305 kelvins. So in this way, like you can figure it out, you can understand your data in a better way. And as you can see here, we are reading the data set for the whole world, and it is just functioning in a matter of seconds. So it makes your task easier, and you can easily understand how your trends and patterns are changing spatially across location. And then moving ahead to another demo using this geostatistical analysis. So the other one is again the interpolation using the geostatistical wizard. So here we have rainfall data in Maharashtra, and if you click on point, you will get all the details. Like if you see, we have data for all the months, and we have even the total rainfall across the year. You can even open the attribute table and see what all data sets you have. So that we have data from 2004 to 2000. Okay, we have data ranging from 2004 to 2010, and we have data for all the months. So now let's calculate the average temperature across Maharashtra. So for that, if you want to use the geostatistical analysis tools, again, you can follow the same procedure. Go to the analysis tab, click on the tools, and identify the geostatistical analysis toolbox. So when you click on the geostatistical analysis toolbox, you get different toolboxes. So the one is for interpolation. So again, as we have discussed, interpolation is for like it contains geoprocessing tools that perform interpolation, and that can be used as a standalone tools, or you can even bring these tools in a model builder or Python window for further processing. And then we have sampling network design, which contains the tools that aid in designing or modifying existing sampling design or monitoring network. And similarly, simulation, utilities, and working with geostatistical layers. So if you want to extract it into the another format, so you can use this tool set to do that. So now, rather than going here for the toolbox, again, I have off-the-shelf tool, which gives us the accurate data set. So that is, again, we need to go to the analysis tab. And here in the workflows, we have something called geostatistical analysis. So you can directly click on this. And when you click on this, you can see that you have been redirected to a window where you can start configuring, or you can choose whatever methods you want, either geostatistical methods or 3D interpolation and all this. So for right now, let me choose empirical Bayesian kriging. So empirical Bayesian kriging is a geostatistical interpolation method that automates the most difficult aspects of building a valid kriging model. So let me choose this, and let me give assign source data set. So my source data set is rainfall Maharashtra, and I would like to calculate it for total, like average annual rainfall. And then you can say next. So as soon as you say next, if there are any issues or warnings with your input data set, it will be here. So it says I have two or more sample exist at the same location. So in this case, we can say either use mean value or include all, remove all, use a minimum out of it. And so for right now, let me keep it by default, and just you can click on next. So as soon as you click on next, you can see your data visualization and how it is interpolating the raster as well. And in the bottom, you can see the graphs, the semi-variograms. So what are the semi-variograms? So using semi-variograms, we can measure spatial autocorrelation of regionalized variables. And you have graphs with nugget, slope, and power as well. So now we have it has generated by default. And if you want to change any settings like subset size, overlap factor, or number of simulations, and the output prediction surveys type, that is prediction type quantile, if you want to set it to quantile, you see the graph is changing accordingly. So you can set this values, and set the transformation. So for right now, let me choose empirical transformation. Then again, semi-variogram type. You have different kinds of semi-variograms. You can choose that, and the neighborhood type. So let me choose smooth circular. And once you are done with all this parameter settings, you can quickly click on next to see the predicted the measured and the predicted values as well. So if you see how the raster is generating, so it has predicted a value at certain location, and if you see the measured value is different and the prediction value is different. So it has gone through multiple simulations and everything, and after that it is giving us this output. And here we have an option for seeing different kinds of graphs, like predicted graph, and if there are any errors, you can see those as well, standardized errors, and the distribution, so the distribution of your data and all these things. So you can say once you are done with this, you can just click on finish and say okay, and you can even see the metadata, like what you have done, what settings you have made, and all these things. So once you're sure, you can just click on OK, and your data set will get added to the interface. So it is taking a while. Okay. So you will see a raster surface coming in with the values that we have generated. So it is a bit time taking. Okay, yes. So as you can see, we have generated a raster for almost the Maharashtra region. If you want to bind this or restrict this to a particular extent, you can do that as well. So you can even set the boundaries so that your data output or the input will surge within that extents. So with this, I am done with the spatial analyst and the geostatistical analyst. And now I would like to hand over the session to my friend Saranya, and she will be taking you through the network analyst extension and the ArcGIS Pro add-ins. So Saranya, it yours.
Thank you, Sarika, for that introduction. And it was a very interesting presentation. I hope you're able to see
Miss
my
Aranya, your voice is not clear, ma'am.
Are you able to hear me now, sir?
Ma'am, you need to check your audio jack.
Is it better now, sir?
It's clear, ma'am. It's good.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. I'm here to talk about network analyst extension today. Network analyst, let me share again, sir. I'm not able to navigate my. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes.
Thank you. Today we will be talking about network analyst extension. Network analyst extension helps you solve several complex routing problems. For example, it helps you answer questions like how far is the nearest COVID-19 testing center? In case of an emergency, how fast can an ambulance reach me? It helps you answer business questions like how many branches do I need in a particular area to serve all my customers efficiently? How should I route my fleet of vehicles to deliver packages and pick them up? So, Network Analyst extension has capabilities like simple routing, where you can find which is the shortest route from point 1 to 2. It helps you to find optimized route. For example, I have 4 stops. How can I traverse through all these stops efficiently? If I have, let us say, 5 hospitals, how many houses is my hospital serving? Or how many villages am I able to serve with my hospital? All these type of capabilities is available with network analyst. We also have closest facility analysis, vehicle routing problem. Vehicle routing problem helps you identify how many delivery personnel you need, how many delivery trucks you need. You can give inputs like what would be the weight of the package a particular truck can pick up at a given time. Such type of analysis can also be done. And ArcGIS now offers you a world traffic service, which will give you historical and predicted traffic values. We also have option to see the live traffic. This traffic layer will help you understand how the traffic is going to affect your network analysis. We also have options to give barriers. For example, if you have a route, if you have a route and there is a construction going on currently, you can give that construction as a barrier so that the model will recognize that and give you a new route. We also have options to give travel modes. So if you want a particular route, so what is the mode of the travel? Am I driving a car? Am I taking a school bus? Or is it a heavy truck or emergency vehicle or walking? All these type of travel modes can be added into our analysis. And you can model U-turns in your analysis. If there are restrictions like one way, we can do it so. For example, if there is a school bus, it cannot take U-turns in small streets or tertiary roads. If there are heavy trucks, it cannot go very close to your pedestrian roads. All these type of inputs can be given in our network analysis. So to perform all this analysis and to take advantage of all these capabilities, we first need a network data set. So with ArcGIS Network Analyst, you can create network data sets. You can, with your road network, you can find out the junctions, you can model all the turns, and we also support multimodal networks. For example, you can combine your metro network, rail network, road network together to give a comprehensive routing solution for you. And in case of 3D routing, we can create 3D network data sets, which will help you in indoor navigation. For example, you need to find the route between a building which has 15, 16 floors. You can do so.
If you are trying to find the evacuation routes in case of mining industries, we can do so using these tools. So in ArcGIS Pro Network Analyst, you will be given access to all these solutions. We have service area, routes, closest facilities, location allocation, origin destination matrix, etc. And if you have your own network data sets, you can use it. In case of situations where you do not have your own network data set, you don't have to worry. You can use the routing services provided by ArcGIS Online. You can use that for your analysis. So this is an example of how optimization is done. So in order to save money on fuel, in order to save your personal time, it is essential to have an optimized route. So when you use this optimized route analysis, you can minimize your cost and improve efficiency. And this is another example of closest facility where we have marked the nearest department store or pharmacy for each of these residential buildings. This is an example of vehicle routing problem. In this era of social distancing, e-commerce has become inevitable, and e-commerce business is growing at a very rapid rate. The success of this e-commerce business depends solely on how fast you are delivering, how efficiently you are delivering, and are you able to deliver your orders in the stipulated time. For example, my non-consumable packages should reach me within a day or two. If I have ordered consumables like vegetables, milk, eggs, it should reach me within 6 hours, 4 to 6 hours. If you have ordered pizza or ice cream, it should reach you within 30 minutes or less. So in this case, in such scenarios, it is absolutely essential to plan your routing. You need to identify where your orders are, how many delivery personnel you should use, and what capacity they can carry. And in this analysis, we can also add other policies like U-turn policies. We can allot time for your employee breaks so that they also have a balanced work time as they are continuously delivering packages already. So a vehicle routing problem helps you to manage these resources efficiently so you can deliver more customers and also improve customer satisfaction. And this is another example of service area in which you can find out, let us say I have a fire station, what is the area it could serve if it is 12 noon or 5 p.m. Depending upon the time and traffic, I can decide how fast I can reach an incident in case of fire. This is another example for location allocation. For example, I am an inspector. I need to inspect all these facilities. So how many field inspectors should I deploy, and how should I allocate these facilities to each of the inspectors? Such type of location allocation exercises can also be done. And we can find the cost of trips from all the stops using origin destination matrix. It will give you the total time taken from location 1 to 1, 1 to 7, so on and so forth. Such origin destination cost matrix help you model your trips, and the output of this can be used in other analysis as well. As we said earlier, traffic service is very useful. It gives you information in case of any traffic incidents is happening. Is there a road blockage or construction going on? Is there flooding? All these type of traffic incidents are updated every 5 minutes, which you can use in your analysis as well. So let us move to a demonstration of network analyst. So here I have my road network for Hyderabad area. If I want to use this data in my analysis, I first need to create my network dataset. So I will just drag and drop the feature class which has my road network, and let me call this network as Hyderabad 2 network dataset. I will say I want these roads in my network, and you have to just run the tool. Once you run the tool, it will give you a network dataset. As you can see here, the edges have been added. If you want to establish connectivity in this network data set, I should build the connectivity here. So I will go for this tool and build the connectivity. After creating the data set and establishing connectivity, you can use this data set to perform analysis. Another thing I would like to show you is how does one include all the rules we spoke earlier. We have settings for vertical connectivity, group connectivity. You can add traffic data. If you're using travel attributes, here is how I can do it. I can give whether I'm going by automobile and distance is my impedance. I'm taking a tour bus, or I'm using walking as my mode of travel. I can incorporate my costs, restrictions. Here I can say whether I can drive a particular vehicle in a paved road. You can say yes or no if you don't want your vehicle to travel on a paved road to protect the vehicle from wear and tear. Similarly, you can give hierarchies. For example, if you want to go through only national highways or state highways, such type of hierarchies can also be given. So let us begin our analysis. In ArcGIS Pro, from the Analysis tab, you can navigate to Network Analysis directly, from where you can go to Service Area, Routes, and other analysis. Here you can see I have given Hyderabad ND as my network data source. As I said earlier, if we do not have your own network data set, we can also use data set provided by ArcGIS Online. So here you can see arcgis.com is set as my network data source. So let us perform a small routing analysis. So here I have my fire stations. So to find out what are all the areas this particular fire services are servicing, I will just give my fire station as an input location and add my facility. Once my facility is added, I can just run the model to see what is the area served by these fire stations. So you can see in 1000 meters, it can reach these areas. To visualize it better, we can change the symbologies as well. So here you can also increase your cutoffs if you want to see for what will happen if I increase it to 10 kilometers. You can do so very easily here. We can also have routing analysis. Say we have 5 ATMs and we have a particular person, a bank employee who should load cash in all these ATMs, and he should do it efficiently. In such cases, we have to give the stops as input to him. So I will import the stops. I will say my ATM under division A or my stops, and I can run the model. So it will give us analysis about what are all the routes he should take in case of loading the cache. If you want to introduce any barriers, we can do so. Here you can create barriers or import barriers. Let us say there is a construction going on. I can click this and run the model again. So it will create a different route. It will try to avoid that construction area and do. We can give line barriers, polygon barriers for our analysis. Similarly, I have my hospital data here. If there is an accident in the area and I'm an emergency vehicle deployment agency and I need to find out what is the closest facilities for these two accidents. In that case, I can just run the model to get the closest facilities. You can also give options to change the number of facilities we need to have, so that it will help us identify one or more facilities in a given area. I will just go to my already run model here. So if we have the routes here, you can see the model has identified from my incident location, it has identified the nearest point. So such type of analysis can also be done. And another example is here we have our shopping malls and we have all the demand points. We can identify which areas a particular department store should deliver to using our location allocation analysis. If we zoom into the layer, we'll be able to see for each of the branch, like what are all the customers they can serve. You can also increase the number of branches to 3 or 4 to get the similar results. So this is how a world traffic service will look like. If you have RJS online account with you, you can go to the portal, navigate to Living Atlas, and just search for World Traffic Service. You will be able to get this particular layer. And here you can see we have options for both traffic and live traffic and historical traffic. So these red segments are where there is congestion, where you have to stop and go. We have orange lines where the movement is very slow, and green areas represent segments of roads where there is smooth traffic. So these type of this traffic service is especially useful when you want to see, you have already decided the delivery route location and you want to see if a traffic is going to affect your planned routes. In such cases, you can overlay your network analysis outputs and see how the traffic is going to affect us. So these type of analysis can also be done. And when we come to vehicle routing problem with ArcGIS Pro 2.6, this vehicle routing is now completely integrated into Pro environment. So you can link it to your, you can use the ArcGIS online services, you can import orders, import depots, and you can also add routes. When you're adding by routes, here we mean like how many delivery personnel you want to assign or how many delivery trucks you would like to assign. You can give that number of trucks here. You can say where the collection should begin and where the exercise should end. We can have inputs for what is the capacity a particular truck can carry. You can give inputs about what is the cost involved, what is the total time a person can take, and what would be the total travel time, total distance he can use. All these type of inputs can be given here. And you can run the model to get an optimal route. And when you open it, you will be able to see we have separate routes for separate personnel. So this first route is allocated for delivery personnel 1 and the second one is allocated for delivery personnel 2. So if you have, let us say, a fleet of vehicles, 30-40 vehicles, we can give all those inputs here and run the model very easily. So we can also give importance about time, and like if there is a particular limitation, like your customer is expecting delivery by 12:30 p.m. we can give such importance here. And if you want to assign lunch breaks and coffee breaks for your personnel, we can do from this tab. So these are some of the examples of network analyst. Let us move to our other topic, which is ArcGIS Pro add-ins. In today's session, we have seen several extensions like spatial analyst, geostatistical analyst, network analyst. In addition to this, we also have several other extensions like data interoperability, where you can exchange between over 109 formats of data. We have several like Locate XT, where you can convert unstructured data and extract geographic coordinates from them. There are so many tools that are available as spots with ArcGIS. In case you want to expand the analysis, you can create your own code and you can develop an add-in and you can deploy it on top of ArcGIS Pro. So ArcGIS add-in is a collection of ArcGIS Pro customization that is packaged into a single compressed file. The extension would be .sg add-in. So in this example, you can see in my add-in manager, I have ArcGIS Pro tools with an extension of this .sg add-in X. So when I use this extension, when I use this add-in, I will be given all these ArcGIS Pro tools which I can use. On the right, we have a screenshot of all available add-ins that are listed in ArcGIS Marketplace. So usually these add-ins are developed within ArcGIS Pro 2.6 in Microsoft .NET Framework. Let me just show a little bit example of ArcGIS Pro add-in. So when you go to your projects, we have an add-in manager tab. Here in my add-in manager, I have already deployed 2 add-ins. So if I click ArcGIS Pro Tools, it will give me access to all these tools. And we also have another add-in called ArcGIS Solutions Deployment Tool. When you use this Solutions Deployment Tool, in your Share tab, you will be given this particular tool, which will help you deploy several solutions. For example, if you go to our solution.arcgis.com websites, we have several pre-configured solutions available. We have solutions for state government, electric utilities, gas, water, natural resources, so on and so forth. If you are interested in any of these solutions, you can install this solution deployment tool and search for your particular analysis. For example, I want to do a flood impact analysis. You can search. So here I have my flood impact analysis. As you can see, the green mark represents I have already deployed it. So once you deploy, you will be given access to this flood impact pro package. From the task, you know how to use this flood impact analysis. You will have step-by-step instructions on how to prepare your flood depth rasters, how to prepare elevation rasters, how to use roads, analyze bridges, buildings, so on and so forth. So it gives you a complete workflow. So this would be a good place to start if you're new to ArcGIS Pro and want to get a flavor of all the capabilities. You can try deploying any of these solutions and see how you can use it in your use cases. So let us move to another add-in which is very useful. Another add-in which most of us use is ArcHydro for Flow, which is a very powerful hydrology analysis geoprocessing toolbox. It gives you, it helps you to perform advanced water resource function. If you have your drainage lines and drainage points, we can create a node link hydro schema. The output of this can be shared with other hydrology models like HECRAS, and you can also string several geoprocessing tools together and share it with others. So some of the simple use cases of ArcHydro is you can start with a terrain model, identify drainage patterns, identify catchment areas. If you want to create schematic diagrams, you can easily do so. So this is an example of how we are doing a terrain pre-processing in ArcHydro. Let me show a small demonstration. We will see here. So once I have deployed ArcHydro add-in, I have this toolbox where I have tools for GIS data exchange, modeling. If I want to create hydro networks, create hydro network connectivity, I can do here. So here you can see I have created a complete hydro network with various start points, edges, and junctions. You can create using these tools. If you want, we also have terrain pre-processing workflows. For example, if your study area has a combined terrain or dendritic terrain, deranged terrain, you can use any of our pre-processing workflows and do your analysis. For example, if I want to do a dendritic terrain analysis, but I do not know my stream locations, in that cases, you can go for this dendritic terrain with unknown stream location. So when you click this, all the input it will ask for is an elevation. It will calculate all the drainage lines, catchments, adjoint catchments, drainage points, all the rasters on its own. You just have to run this analysis. You can see that here I have already run the model to save some time. So it fills all the sinks in your elevation model. It finds what is the flow accumulation. It calculates flow direction, catchment area, streams. And finally, you also get your drainage lines and drainage points, which you can use in other analysis as well. So you can run tools like, if I go to my analysis history, you can see you can do network tracing, generate node link schemas, you can find do watershed delineation, longest flow path. All these tools are available with ArcHydroPro. And these two add-ins are freely available. You can deploy it today in your platform and start exploring. And several extensions we discussed today, like Network Analyst and ArcHydroPro, already have tutorial data available. So please download and start exploring. It would be really interesting to get the flavor of ArcGIS Pro. So to summarize, we saw these two extensions today in addition to our add-ins. So we highly encourage you to use our trial version and see how you can bring all these extensions. You can test it out. And we also have a GeoNet community where you can discuss all the GIS analysis you are doing. If you have any questions, you can ask our GIS experts. This is a very good community with this is a very good user community, and this is the link for it. So this is what we have prepared for you today.